Hey there, this is Dr. Pam Perry. So I promised you that this is a special show. One, it's special because we're celebrating 7 years, and also we have two leading ladies of law enforcement. Say that fast 3 times. And so we're going to talk about the pivot, how a speaker who has been in a particular career, especially law enforcement, as a female, can be into a next phase and inspiring and motivating masses. So we're going to talk with Dr. Rhonda Glover Reese, who is our cover story, and also Kenyatta McKinnon, who is in the same issue. So we'll be right back with them right after this. Give you a little bit of background about Speakers Magazine and our journey over the 7 years.
This July, we joyfully celebrate 7 years of amplifying voices with Speakers Magazine since its inception in 2017 by the visionary Dr. Pam Perry. This pioneering platform has consistently elevated Black Americans, connecting them with meeting planners and organizations worldwide. Every voice has the power to be inspired by change. Our mission is to ensure these voices are not just heard, but sought after. Dr. Perry's mission was clear: to create a movement, not just a magazine, recognizing the need for a dedicated space where Black American speakers could shine. She aimed to bridge gaps in representation and ensure that often marginalized voices are heard loud and clear. The magazine's inaugural cover featured Dr. George C. Frazier, a titan in business networking and economic development, who has dedicated his life to uplifting Black businesses and communities. This set the tone for what Speakers Magazine would embody: a platform for influential voices, leading by example and making significant impacts. Over the past 7 years, Speakers Magazine has featured over 80 remarkable individuals on its covers, each bringing unique perspectives and transformative insights to audiences globally. These cover stories are testaments to the resilience, brilliance, and enduring spirits of leaders, innovators, and change makers within the Black American community. Notable additions include Stephanie Mills, the legendary singer, actress whose transition from the stage to advocacy has spurred social action, and Kim Coles, whose messages of self-love and acceptance resonate deeply. Ed Gordon, a respected journalist, provided profound insights into the craft of storytelling through journalism. Speakers Magazine is not just about covers. It's about the stories within. These stories offer readers a glimpse into the journeys of extraordinary individuals, their challenges, triumphs, and the impact they're making in their fields. Each edition is filled with valuable content that helps speakers hone their craft, from public speaking tips to personal branding and digital marketing insights. As Speakers Magazine steps into its 8th year, Dr. Pam Perry's vision continues to expand. The publication remains an invaluable resource for meeting planners seeking speakers who are leaders in their fields and committed to making a difference. Here's to more years of impactful storytelling, transformative conversations, and a continued commitment to elevating voices that have the power to change the world. Happy anniversary, Speakers Magazine. Keep speaking, keep inspiring. Visit speakersmagazine.com to learn more and join the celebration.
All right. And now the current issue, which is the July 2024 issue. Can you believe it? It's been 7 years. So with that, I'm going to bring up our cover girl, Dr. Rhonda Reese. That is her. That is her. And I just want to say thank you so much. She is moving. She is actually moved. So she was in DC, then she's in Florida, back to DC. Now she's in Charlotte, and she is doing all the things. Right. Right. So just like you would expect a leader to do. And then also too, Kenyatta McKinnon, that is her as well. She is in here. She's got on pink today, but in this one, she was a lady in blue over here, right? Right, right. So you're a lady in blue. So I want to just thank you all both for coming on. And it's special because you all didn't know each other. And last year, I approached Rhonda. I said, Rhonda, you have such a fascinating career. This was like last October, maybe it was October, November. And I said, I want to know, what do you have going on? And she says, "Well, I do Noble." And I said, "What is Noble?" And you told me what it was. It's a national organization of
Black law enforcement executives.
Black law enforcement executives, right? So I was like, Black law enforcement executives. I said, what is that about? And so you were telling me about the mentoring and the things that you do with the organization. And you said every year, and you got so excited, you got so pumped, telling me about what you were really doing to inspire the young people to get into law enforcement, and that you're doing this conference and you're helping them do all that. And so I said, okay, would you like to be the cover? And you said, sure, let's do July. And so during that time, Kenyatta, again, she was in law enforcement, retired from Fulton County in Georgia, Sheriff's Department, Sheriff, Sheriff's Department. Did I say Sheriff's Department? Yeah, Sheriff's
Mhm.
Department. And you were just telling me all the things that you did. And I said, wait a minute. I said, you were a leader in law enforcement too? And you were like, yeah, I do this. I said, well, you've got to meet Dr. Rhonda. So Dr. Rhonda retired from FBI. You're from the Fulton County shit. But still, it is, if I can say this, you're probably like maybe the first generation of Black women that were probably in management. I would say, when I say first generation, like, did you have women mentors ahead of you that you were probably like, you're the trailblazers. That's what I want to say. You're the
Mhm.
trailblazer.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
and I just applaud you, because it's something that, they always say you could be it if you could see it. Well, where did you all first of all, I'll start with Rhonda, then I go with Kenna. When did you decide that you want to go into this field? Okay, so when did you be it? Did you see it? Was it something like Cleopatra Jones? I don't know what it was, but what was it that made you want to go into what you were doing for your career?
I knew that I wanted to be an FBI agent when I was a little girl. And I was fortunate enough before I go into it. Congratulations on 7 years. That, yeah,
Thank
I mean,
you.
that the commercial just, woo, just that's awesome. And the covers, and I know some of those people. I was like, I
I
know
know
them.
some of the
I
people.
know them.
It's like, and some of them are repeat, right? Dr. Sherwood was a repeat. She's like my every November,
But
always on the cover, and
but fabulous. Everybody looked just awesome,
And
awesome.
I
But
think I
Yeah.
think Kenyatta probably saw some of her AKA friends. I think Dr. Geneva was on there.
Mhm.
She was
I
shining
did.
her pinky green.
oh yeah,
She
oh
said,
yeah,
"It's like, okay, we're gonna shine your pinky
yeah,
green." She was on there 3 times, I believe it is. And she also had a pivot career. She was in nonprofit for 40 years, and then left to then become executive coach and a speaker. And
Wow.
that was her pivot. So the magazine kind of helps people make that pivot, not only for other people to see them differently, but for her to see herself differently when
yeah,
she's on the
yeah.
cover. And so
Man,
for you,
absolutely.
Dr. Rhonda, I wanted you to see yourself differently. And Kenyatta, I wanted you to see yourself differently. You're now part of the speaker family. It's like a bureau, basically,
Yeah.
because these magazines, they go out to meeting planners and to media.
Yes. Oh,
Wow.
Okay.
because
So when
see,
they're looking for
thank you.
people,
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah,
today
that's
when I
awesome.
yeah, and when I was at Fox 2 today, the producer came out and she was like, I had one client there and I was like, here's some more. I was like, here's some more. She says, this is a new one. This is hot off the press. So you never know. That's why
Mm,
I like printed magazines, because they go places where you can't go. You'll get copies as well, but we hand them out when
mm.
people say, oh, I can't find any speakers, or do you know anybody that is, then you can hand it to them instead of a
Yeah.
Yeah.
website. So anyway, so go
Oh,
go on, go on. Thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
No, this is good stuff. I love
It
this. Yeah.
is.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you. That's so awesome.
So you
So
want to be an
when I was
FBI
huh?
since you were a little girl?
Since I was a little girl.
Who
So
inspired you?
look. So this is the this is when I was a little girl. I was fortunate enough to have a TV in my room, and but back then you didn't have a TV in your room. I grew up as an only child, so I had a TV in my room, and so I looked at the FBI with Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. religiously.
Yes.
That's how I learned about the FBI, and I'm
The
like,
the 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 jingle of that was the FBI. It was a jingle, not a song, but I was looking for that to do for the magazine for this month. I think I used like Get Smart or something, but I was looking for that particular show that came out in the 60s.
yes,
And I don't think anybody remembered that. My husband remembered that. And I said, oh, yeah, I do remember that. But it
yeah.
didn't speak to me like it spoke to you. But go
Oh
on.
yeah, I was. Look, a lot of times I didn't know what I was looking at. I only remember one show in particular. I don't know why it stuck with me, but I just remember it. And then fast forward to high school, I was in the counselor's office, and counselor had this pamphlet that said FBI on it. I'm like, that's it. That's what I'm
Mm.
going to do. And I stuck with it. And what was interesting about that, it was, as I got older, my friends would tell me, "Yeah, Rhonda, you would talk about you wanted to be an agent," and I do not recall talking about it that much, but I knew that that's what I wanted to do, and so that's how I was introduced to the FBI, and it was an incredible journey. I mean, 34 years. I retired after 34 years of service. I was able to do so many different things. I did a lot of undercover work. I oversaw investigations, white collar crime,
Mm.
counterintelligence, counterterrorism, uh, drug investigations, violent crime, everything. And so I moved up in the bureau as well.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
stepped into leadership and moved up. And so I grew up in the FBI. When you
Mhm.
talk about spending that time, 34 years, I looked back and I'm like, man, I grew up. I grew up in the FBI. I experienced life while I
Mhm.
was in FBI and just really grew as a person in the FBI. And it was in the FBI I realized that I had a fear of speaking. And so I
Mm.
don't know whether we want to pivot there, but we could talk about that because it's interesting that I'm on the cover of the Speakers magazine, Dr. Pam, because I had a fear of speaking in front of people. And it was while I was at the FBI, I experienced that fear, and I had to get my act together if I want to continue to do my job.
Yeah. In order to rise up in any corporate leadership role, you do have to speak in front of people. And a
Yes.
lot of times they'll call on you to speak extemporaneously. It's not
Hmm.
like they're gonna go home and go write a speech and then practice it. It's like on the flat-footed, like, okay, now you have to deliver. And then probably in press conferences and things like that too, if you're on a big case and things like that, that is where you won't have any practice. Reporters are shooting questions at you and always trying to stumble you. So yeah, so that is a skill that is learned, but eventually you'll find that if you one of the things that one of my uh, good friends said that he asked Tony Brown from Tony Brown's Journal. I don't know if you remember him. And they asked Tony Brown, says, Tony Brown, he says, you're such a great speaker. You're so prolific. And, how do you, what do you study or what tips can you give me? And Tony Brown said, you just need to have something to say. He said, okay. He writing notes. He says, and what else? He says, that's it. He says,
Hmm.
have something important to say and you'll be a good speaker. And
Hmm.
so he says, well, what about all the tips and the storytelling? He says, that's good. He said, but you can even stutter. But if you have something important to say, people will listen. So that was like his main thing. It's like just
Right.
have something to say. So
Yeah.
I love that. So Kenyatta, so when was your pivotal moment of saying, I think I want to go into law enforcement? I
I'm just, honestly, when I went to college, I really didn't have any direction, didn't know what I wanted to do. And then when I graduated, I said, okay, I'm gonna go to law school. And then when I realized I had to do some more schooling, like for 2, 3 years, I was like, So then I was trying to be a probation officer. And then I honestly just started applying to different probation officer jobs and law enforcement jobs. And the Fulton County Sheriff's Office, they called me first, and I ended up being there for 26 years before I retired. So I
but but
kind of
but
just
but
fell
even
into it.
but Kenyatta, even before that, so you come out of college, what was your major?
My major was criminal justice. I minored in
Okay.
English.
Okay,
But
so what made the interest in I mean, that's like you could pick art, you could pick math. I mean, so what was there had to
what?
be some seed of something that said,
Absolutely. I love the law, and I'm the type of individual. I like to lock up bad people.
okay,
So that
okay.
was an opportunity for me to kind of do it, but do it the legal way. And
Yes,
so
yes.
I fell into it, and I ended up being in law enforcement for 26 years, and it actually ended up being a great experience. And I've gotten so much experience and information and resources and tools that has really carried me throughout that 26 years, as well as now that I'm retired, being able to do other things as an entrepreneur. So it was a blessing.
Okay, all right. So both of you guys, when was it the time when in your career, because you would know the first couple of years whether it's like I'm gonna stay in this or I'm gonna leave. So you obviously you liked it, but when was the time when you said, you know what, I've been in this, I'm really moving up the ladder, I'm in leadership. When was the time for you, Dr. Rhonda, when you says, okay, when I leave, my next act will be what? And what was your preparation steps? And then the same question to you, Kenyatta.
Yeah, so it was one day. I served as assistant special agent in charge in New Haven, Connecticut, and I'm in my office, and I'm getting all these phone calls, and people were asking me to mentor, talk to this person. They want to join the FBI. I really, really, really want you to talk to them. And I'm like, okay. And it was like three calls back to back,
Oh,
and I'm like,
that's a
okay,
sign.
God.
That's a sign.
I get it. I get it now. That's what I was going to do when I retired. Because prior to that, probably 5 years prior to that, I had been thinking about, well, now what am I going to do? What is retirement going to look like? I
Mhm,
wasn't able to answer the question then,
mhm,
but I asked the question of myself to prepare for retirement. My mindset, I knew I had to, I didn't have to do anything, but I knew that I wanted to do something.
mhm.
And I knew that I could do something and add to the lives of other people because I your superpower.
Yeah, yeah.
And mentoring and coaching, that's my superpower. And so that was confirmed that day. And I said, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a coach. And I, I have two certifications in coaching
Mhm,
now because I wanted to really help people move forward.
mhm, mhm.
Because, when I have conversations with people about what they're doing or what they want to do, they're stuck, and a lot of times they stay there because they don't know what to do. And see, the other thing is some people know what to do, but they don't want to do it. They don't
Mm,
want to do the work. And
mhm.
so in coaching, I just love helping people get out of their own way. So as a career coach, now I'm a certified coach, but I focus on career,
Mhm.
and but my emphasis is on law enforcement. But
Yeah.
I can coach anybody. I can
Right,
coach
right.
anybody.
Well,
I love
you have the receipts for being in a field where there's not a lot of women. Both of you all in a
it.
field where
Mhm.
it's not a lot of women. So they're looking for mentors. They're looking for coaches. So
Mhm.
with you, Kenyatta, one of the pivots that you had was your business, the security business,
Hmm.
and then also the ministry.
Hmm.
You're licensed evangelist or
Yeah, licensed
eh,
ordained minister.
okay, so you can see that these ladies love school. Like go and get certified. We're not just go just like I like doing it, but no, I'm
Mhm.
like doing it and I'm gonna go get certified and get trained. I'm going to learn this. And then the other thing is the speaking and
Yes.
that kind of thing. So in coaching,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you've written some books. It'll show
Yeah,
you
I
that.
have. Yeah, I coach and I mentor as well. And I think my next act, it was so many misconceptions about law enforcement and what we did.
Yep.
We were labeled, and so many people just didn't understand the dynamics of law enforcement and how law enforcement works. So I felt imperative to write a book, which I did, called Bridging the Gap Between Law Enforcement and the Community,
Is that the one
because
you is that show that one? You
Huh.
have that
Oh,
one?
oh yeah. I wrote a book, yeah, Bridging the
Yeah.
Gap Between Law Enforcement and the Community,
Yeah.
because I just
Yeah.
realized that so many people that I was interacting with, they really had no concept of what law enforcement did, and law enforcement really was not engaging with the community. So I felt a need, I saw a need there, and that's really what catapulted me into saying this needs to be something I need to follow up. So I began to mentor and coach youth, young adults, in how to engage with law enforcement, how law enforcement can engage with the community. I've been on several, conferences where I've been speaking towards how we can bridge the gap.
Yeah.
And I just felt like it was I needed to get it out to help people so that we could better move forward, because so many people think that law enforcement officers, they have a gun, a license, a badge, and all they want to do is, bully
Mistreat
people
people.
and be in authoritative positions and control and manipulate them. And that's really not what we do. There are a lot of good law enforcement officers out here that do their job every single day.
Mm.
And you have to really be a people person to be in law enforcement, because you always deal with the citizens in the community. So that for me was my motivation to say, Kenyatta, there's a need for this. You need to go out here. You need to talk to people. You need to educate them. They need to understand the dynamics with law enforcement, as well as law enforcement officers need to understand the dynamics with the community, because, there was a lot of tension there as well. And at the time, we had a lot of unjustified shootings going on, with
Mhm.
African Americans, and my book speaks to that, but not just to African Americans. It was unjustified shootings with all races across the board. But what was highlighted through the media was, African Americans. But I just felt the need to educate the community and educate law enforcement and educate, the youth on, what they need to do moving forward, so that we can bridge this gap, so that we can, instill a better tomorrow for the law enforcement side as well as the community side.
That reminds me too, because one of the things growing up, it was that the law enforcement used to come to the schools back in the day. They used to
We
come out to
still
the
do.
schools and they would talk and
Hmm.
people would be excited to see them, the people in the, whatever. But it's not like that. I don't see that happening. I can't remember ever my daughter saying that we had police officers or anybody from the school, other than something bad was happening, that was there talking about careers or even
Yes.
just inspiring them. And back in the day, but there used to be a group called the Blue Pigs, and they were around, and they were like the musical part of police, but that wasn't really talking
Mhm.
and really inspiring. But yeah, that is a big
Mhm.
gap right now, and I think that's where there's a big wave of that as well. And that's probably why a lot of women don't want to go into the careers, because they feel that there's a stigma in law
Mhm.
enforcement, that they will be mistreated treated bad, because there is a image problem. Basically, it's an
Mhm.
image problem with,
Absolutely.
with women. And a
Mhm.
lot of times the images don't face up to the reality, but how will they know if you
Mhm.
ladies don't tell them? So I applaud you for doing that. That is like the main thing. I just really want to applaud you. I want people to go to speakersmagazine.com. We're going to go through the issue with Black Speakers Network on Saturday, the entire issue, but I want you to go to speakersmagazine.com and actually read the story in here of Dr. Rhonda. It's a bit of it in here, and then also of Kenyatta as well. It's as well as in here as well. But I wanted to just thank both of you all for sharing your story, the start of it, of where you're going. So what's next for you, Dr. Rhonda, and what's next for you, Kenyatta?
Well, for for me, I'm preparing for the 23rd annual Noble Youth Leadership Conference that's coming up in New Orleans, and I'm so excited. It's coming up in August, and it's the program that I actually created. I birthed. It's my baby.
It's your
So
bag. All right.
it's I've had my ups and my downs with the program and just really making it grow and stretch. But I'm just so excited. Just like I just want to say Dr. Kenyatta because she just gives off
I
that
know.
vibe.
I said
You
that
know
too.
what I'm saying?
I know. I said that
She
to her too.
gives,
She says, "Not yet, not yet." I was like, "I
yeah,
feel like that
she's
too."
giving it. She's giving it. You know, talking, connecting with young people, and that's what we're doing at Noble. We are connecting with young people, and this is a leadership conference. So we are not pushing young people into law enforcement. We're not urging them to go into law enforcement. We are showing up decent and in order and building a foundation for success, talking about their issues, talking about challenges that they're experiencing, and giving them that space, that safe space, and that platform to be able to talk about things that they want to talk about. But at the same time, we're going to be talking about things we know that they need to know about. So I'm real excited and jazzed up. It's the conference is going to be electric.
How
It's
many
going to
people?
rival the adult conference.
How
That's
many people?
always my goal every year is to make it better than the adult conference, and I think we do that. I think we do that.
How many kids are there going to be? How many children?
Well, let me tell you what's interesting about this conference. School's going to be in session. So on the weekend, we're going to have up to 200 young people on the Saturday and Sunday.
Whoa.
But on Monday and Tuesday, the number I can't even say because we're going to go to the school. And
Mhm.
so and we love that the schools say, you know what, y'all come to us. I'm like, okay, we're gonna bring the conference to the school. And so
Wow.
I love that the administrators in New Orleans are really open to us doing that, and we're excited. We're excited to be able to have conversations and really stretch our young people to levels that they not even thinking about going.
Yeah, it's life changing when they go to professional conferences. Change people, they change adults, but they
Yes.
really will change young people who don't go to conferences, and they get the whole little bag and the this and that, and they get to talk and interact. I think you said they have certain uniforms that they have to wear
Oh
for certain.
yeah, they get a T-shirt every day, every
Yes,
day.
yes.
So
So it's
they
like,
they get a journal, they get a conference journal, they get a conference backpack, they get, and so I know we're hitting on something because we have adults that come up and they say, "Can we have a bag?"
no,
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 they're for the kids.
that is
So
it's good stuff for the
no, they're
kids.
for
That's
the
good.
kids.
I love it. I
So
love it.
we're very, very intentional about making sure that the conference is very, very high level
Hmm.
and it looks good because kids like stuff that look good. And so we
Yeah,
make
they're
sure that
used
they get
to
the
it.
best
They're
because the
used to it.
kids that are we're impacting are from the community and they may not have that opportunity to really see what it looks like to go to a conference and be a part of a conference. So
Yeah.
we're excited about doing that.
And I really do like the fact that professional conferences should be a part of, for them to start out to realize that's something that she do all of your career, going to
Yes.
professional conference for professional growth. That is just part of what you do. And
Yes.
that's what I've done. That's what you've done. It's just you always are getting other certifications and learning. You can't stay the same. You've got to always grow. So I love that. That is one of the things. And so, Kenyatta, where is your next?
Yeah, I totally agree. Investing in yourself is the best thing. Next for me, Kenyatta McKinnon Ministries is putting on a production called Destined for Millions Conference, and it's coming up in October. And so it'll be for 2 days, and we'll have speakers, covering a range of subject matter, such as entrepreneurship, credit. We'll have a little bit of ministry going on, of
Mhm.
course, to
Of
talk
course.
to, the people about, God and, and so I'm excited about that. It's a program that I just birthed out this year. And so I want to make it a yearly program called
Yeah.
Destined for Millions. And so we're
Mhm.
excited about that. I'm in partnership and collaboration with two other churches.
Oh,
And,
good.
we're planning and, getting geared up for that. So I'm excited to put on my first conference this year. And we're expecting about 150 people for each day. So it's going to be pretty good.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm just excited and we'll see, what happens. Who knows? Maybe I'll have some more set conferences to come, from this,
Yeah.
so it's exciting. And it's not even like work to me because when you have a passion about doing something, you just enjoy doing it and you do it effortlessly. So I'm in agreement with Dr. Rhonda. It's just good to be able to help others, be able to assist them and give them the tools and resources that they need
Mhm.
in order to
Mhm.
elevate in life, in order to manifest where they're trying to go, in order to get them where they've been trying to go. But because they don't have the information, they have a hard time getting there. So hopefully with this Destined for Millions conference, we'll be able to facilitate that for them so that they'll be able to do what they need to do to better their life.
I
Yes.
love that. I
Yes.
always think, and you both of y'all make me think of this, because when you mentor people and you're helping people, it's not necessarily the what or the how, it's the who. So connecting with Dr. Rhonda Glover Reese or connecting with Kenna, it's the who. The who people can give them the how and even show them the what. But you got to get with the who. And so I always say that those that show up go up, because you have to stay in the room, got to get in the room. And it's a lot for a speaker to speak and then also for a speaker to put on an event. And that's a whole nother energy, right? Like getting people to get excited to come to the event, because people will wait till the last minute to get all the tickets all the time. And then when it's sold out, then that's when they want to get tickets. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But thank you all so much for joining us today. I want people to go to Speakers Magazine. They'll find all your information. They'll find the stories about you, find your website, your contact information, and they'll book you to speak for your next event and for your next gigs, and so on and so on. So thank you so much for joining us today. God bless
Thank
you
you for
guys.
having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rhonda. I appreciate your
Thank
platform.
you.
God bless you. Thank
All right.
you.
Take care. All right,
This
bye-bye.
was awesome.